Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another powerful episode here at Native English Flow, the channel where you learn English while learning how to build a better life. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. And if you've been with us before, thank you for coming back. Today, we are going to talk about something that stops so many people from living the life they want. We are going to talk about fear. More importantly, we are going to talk about why you must not let fear win. Fear is something every person feels. It is a natural part of being human. You can feel fear when you try something new, when you take a risk, when you speak in front of people, when you chase a dream, or when you are about to change your life. Fear shows up in your body, in your thoughts, in your voice. It tells you to stop. It tells you to wait. It tells you to run away. Fear makes your heart beat fast. It makes your hands shake. It makes your voice quiet. It makes your dreams feel far away. But here is the truth. Fear is not always your enemy. Sometimes, fear is just a signal. It means you are doing something important. It means you are stepping outside your comfort zone. It means you are growing. But fear wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you from failure, from pain, from rejection. And so it tries to stop you. But if you always listen to your fear, you will never grow. You will never try. You will never speak. You will never reach. You will never become who you truly are. Fear will keep you in the same place. It will build a cage around you, even if that cage looks safe. You will wake up one day and realize that you didn't live the life you wanted. Not because you couldn't, but because fear told you not to try. And that is why you must not let fear win. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop letting fear make your decisions. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel nervous and still take the step. You can feel unsure and still keep going. Fear is a feeling, not a wall. It cannot stop you unless you give it permission. It cannot control your life unless you hand it the keys. Many people think they must wait for fear to go away before they take action. But that day may never come. Fear is always there when something matters. Fear is always loud before a big change. You don't need to wait until you feel brave. You need to take action even while you are afraid. That is real courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is doing the thing anyway. It is standing up with your heart shaking. It is speaking your truth with your voice trembling. It is walking forward with your legs unsure. Courage says, I see the fear, but I am not stopping. Courage says, I will try anyway. You have done many things in your life that once felt scary. And now, they feel normal. At one time, you were afraid to speak a new language. Now, you are learning it. At one time, you were afraid to try something new. Now, you have new skills, new knowledge, new experience. Every time you faced fear and kept going, you grew stronger. Every time you said yes while fear said no, you moved forward. You may not even see how far you have come because you are still looking at the fear in front of you. But stop and look back. Look at all the moments you were scared and did it anyway. That is power. That is proof. That is your strength. Fear speaks in many voices. Sometimes it is loud, shouting in your mind that you are not ready, that you are not smart enough, strong enough, fast enough. Sometimes it is quiet, just a small voice that says, maybe later, not today, let's wait a little longer. But in both cases, the message is the same. Do nothing. Stay where you are. Keep safe. Keep small. Fear does not always feel like panic. Sometimes fear feels like delay, like doubt, like confusion. It hides inside excuses. I don't have time. I don't know how. I need to be more prepared. These thoughts are fear in disguise. They do not protect you. They hold you back. And every time you listen to them, fear wins a little more. Fear does not need to stop you with force. It only needs to make you stop yourself. That is why it is so dangerous. It works quietly. It feels like your own thinking. But it is not your truth. It is only your limit. To break free from fear, you must learn to act without waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect time. There is only now. Every time you delay your dream, your voice, your action, you give fear more power. But every time you act, even in a small way, fear becomes weaker. You don't need to jump. You can take one step, one email, one sentence, one decision. That is how confidence grows. You don't need to feel brave to start. You need to start to feel brave. Action creates courage. Waiting only grows fear. And if you wait too long, fear becomes normal. Safe becomes small. And one day, you wake up and wonder where your life went. You wonder what you could have done. That pain is deeper than the pain of trying. The pain of regret is worse than the pain of failure. At least failure teaches you something. At least trying brings progress. At least doing builds strength. But quitting before you begin only builds emptiness. Fear wants you to believe that you are not enough. But you are. You have already survived hard things. You have already learned from pain. You have already made it through days you thought would break you. Fear doesn't know your strength. It only sees your doubts. It only speaks your worst thoughts. But those thoughts are not your whole mind. Deep inside you, there is another voice. A voice that says, I want more. I want to grow. I want to change. I want to become something better. That voice is quiet at first. But if you listen to it, if you act on it, if you give it your attention, it becomes stronger than fear. That voice is your truth. Your courage. Your will. Fear will never disappear completely. But it does not need to disappear for you to live fully. You just need to decide which voice you will follow. The one that keeps you small. Or the one that pushes you forward. One keeps you safe but stuck. The other makes you scared but free. One leads to a quiet life. The other leads to a full one. You must choose. You must decide. And every time you choose courage over fear, you win. Every time you move forward, you grow. Every time you speak, even with a shaking voice, you take back your power. Fear cannot stop you unless you let it. Fear makes you believe that if you try, you might fail. But it never talks about what happens if you never try at all. Fear only shows one side of the story. It shows you everything that can go wrong. It shows you the mistakes you might make. It shows you the people who might laugh, the moments that might hurt, the chances that might break you. But fear never shows you what could go right. Fear never shows you the door that might open, the skill you might learn, the person you might become. Fear only protects you from pain, but it also blocks you from joy. It closes the door not only on failure but also on success. Not only on danger but also on discovery. And if you let fear control your life, you will always live only half a life. Safe but small. Comfortable but closed. Fear does not want you to grow. It wants you to stay the same. But your heart wants more. Your heart wants freedom, love, meaning, progress. You feel that desire for more because you are meant to grow. And fear will always rise when you step outside your current limits. That is why fear is not something to avoid. It is something to understand. It is a sign that you are stepping into something new. And new things bring change. Change brings fear. But fear also brings opportunity. Every time you feel fear, you are standing at the edge of something important. And when you choose not to let fear win, you grow stronger. It does not matter if you feel fear. What matters is what you do with it. Do you stop? Or do you keep going? Do you hide? Or do you rise? Do you wait forever? Or do you take the step now? Fear cannot stop your body. It only speaks to your mind. And you are more than your thoughts. You can feel afraid and still walk forward. You can feel unsure and still say yes. You can feel weak and still take action. This is not about removing fear. It is about walking beside it. It is about looking fear in the eye and saying, I see you, but I choose something else. I choose to act. I choose to speak. I choose to build, to grow, to show up, even when I do not feel ready. That is how fear loses its power. Not by disappearing, but by no longer being the voice that makes the decisions. The people who build amazing lives are not people without fear. They are people who learned how to move with fear. They were scared. They had doubt. They heard the same thoughts you hear. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I'm not good enough? But they did it anyway. They took the step. They made the call. They opened their heart. And that is why they succeeded. Not because they were fearless, but because they were brave. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means go forward with care. Go forward with awareness. Go forward with your eyes open, but still go. Do not wait until fear disappears. Because fear will always be there when something matters to you. And if you wait, you will miss your chance. The best moments in life live on the other side of fear. You just need to walk through it. And when you do, something amazing happens. You look back and see that fear was smaller than you thought. That it was mostly in your head. That it had no power except the power you gave it. You start to see fear as part of the journey, not the enemy. You stop letting fear hold the pen. You take it back. You begin writing your story again. And this time, the story is not about stopping. It is about strength. It is about growth. It is about freedom. Fear doesn't always show up as a big, loud warning. Sometimes fear hides in small decisions. You say yes when you wanted to say no. You stay quiet when you had something to share. You hold back when your heart wanted to move forward. These are the quiet wins that fear takes. You don't even notice them at first. You just feel a little smaller after. A little more frustrated. A little more lost. But if you let fear keep winning these small battles, it starts to shape your life. Your days become filled with avoidance. Your voice becomes softer. Your goals stay in your mind but never reach your hands. One day you look in the mirror and realize you've been following fear, not choice. That is why you must pay attention to the small moments. The everyday fears. The quiet doubts. Catch them. Question them. And challenge them. Because every time you say no to fear, even in a small way, you build power. You build courage. You build the habit of standing your ground. Many people believe fear will go away if they get more information, more training, more confidence. But that is not how fear works. Fear feeds on delay. The more you wait, the louder it grows. The more you study, the more risks you see. The more you prepare, the more reasons you find to stop. That's because fear doesn't live in your reality. It lives in your imagination. It creates pictures of everything that could go wrong. But most of those pictures are not real. They are only mental shadows. They have no weight, no truth. But they feel real, because your mind makes them real. And so you must stop giving fear time to build its story. Act before fear has time to grow. Take the first step before your brain fills the space with doubt. Confidence comes after action, not before. The people who wait to feel ready are often still waiting years later. The people who move before they feel ready are the ones who change their lives. Fear is not always about danger. Often it is about identity. You fear being seen as weak, as wrong, as different. You fear the opinion of others. You fear rejection. But the truth is, people are too busy thinking about their own fears to think about yours. They are not watching you as closely as you think. And if they judge you, it doesn't change your value. Their judgment is not your truth. It is only a reflection of their own fear. You are not here to live someone else's life. You are here to live your own. And if that means doing things differently, speaking when others are quiet, standing alone when others follow, that is not failure. That is strength. That is purpose. That is the path of the few who choose courage over comfort. You must remember that fear speaks with emotion, but truth speaks with action. When you act, you prove fear wrong. When you speak, you show yourself what is possible. And when you take one brave step, even if it's small, you remind yourself that fear is not in control anymore. That you are stronger than it. That you can feel afraid and still live your life fully. You must learn this again and again, because fear will return. It always does. But when it comes back, you will not be the same. You will be more prepared, more steady, more calm, because every time you faced it before, you grew. And now you carry that strength with you. One of the biggest lies fear tells you is that you are the only one feeling it. That everyone else is confident. That everyone else has it all figured out. That you are the only one who feels nervous, unsure, or lost. But this is not true. Everyone feels fear. Every person you see who is doing something great has also felt afraid. They just didn't stop. They felt the fear, but they kept going. You are not different. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are just human. And being human means feeling fear. The difference is not in who feels fear and who doesn't. The difference is in what you do when fear shows up. Do you listen to it? Do you stop and turn around? Or do you take a breath and take one small step forward anyway? Fear will always try to speak first. It will always try to make the rules. But you do not have to follow. You can choose to listen to a different voice, the voice inside you that says, I want to grow. I want to speak. I want to live fully. That voice is small at first. But every time you use it, it becomes louder. Every time you act with courage, it becomes stronger. It becomes easier to hear. And one day, you realize something has changed. You are no longer controlled by fear. You still feel it, but it does not lead you. It does not choose for you. You are in charge now. Sometimes fear shows up in your body. You feel your chest get tight. Your stomach feels heavy. Your hands shake. Your heart beats faster. This is normal. It is your body preparing for something new. Do not fight these feelings. Do not try to push them away. Just notice them. Breathe slowly. Remind yourself that this is just fear. It is a signal, not a danger. And it will pass. The more you practice staying calm, the more your body learns that fear does not have to stop you. Your body learns from your actions. If you stay still, if you stay quiet, it believes fear is real. But if you take a step, if you speak, if you move forward, it begins to learn. It begins to feel safe again. That is how you train yourself to face fear. One breath. One action. One step at a time. Sometimes fear shows up in your thoughts. What if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I lose everything? These thoughts are heavy. They repeat in your mind. They make you tired. But you can learn to answer them. You can ask, what if I succeed? What if people support me? What if I learn something important? You can also ask, so what? So what if I fail? I can try again. So what if they laugh? That says more about them than about me. So what if I lose something? I will still be alive. I will still grow. I will still have myself. Fear gives you questions, but courage gives you better answers. You do not have to believe every thought that fear gives you. You can speak back. You can choose new thoughts. And when you do, your fear begins to lose its power. There are moments in life when fear feels bigger than anything else. You wake up with a heavy feeling in your chest. You look at your goals and feel small. You think about your future and feel unsure. These moments are hard. They make you want to stay in bed, stay silent, stay still. You want to avoid the world. You want to hide. But deep down, you know you can't stay there. You know this feeling will grow if you feed it. And so, even though it's hard, you sit up. You take a breath. You take one small action. You open your book. You send that message. You get out of the house. You move forward. And when you do, the fear starts to move too. It doesn't go away at once, but it loses some of its power. And you feel something shift inside you. You feel like you are back in control. This is the truth about fear. It grows when you feed it and it shrinks when you face it. The more you avoid something, the more scary it becomes. The more you think about your fears, the more real they feel. But when you face them, when you say, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway, they get smaller. They become something you can handle. Something you can walk through. This is how you build courage. Not by waiting for fear to leave, but by learning to keep going even when it's there. Courage is not a gift that some people have and others don't. Courage is something you grow. It is something you build through practice. You start with small steps. You face small fears. You speak when you want to stay quiet. You try when you want to give up. Each time you do this, you get stronger. Each time, your belief in yourself grows. And one day, you face something big and realize, I can do this. I've already faced things like this before. I've already stood up to fear. I've already learned how to keep moving. That's how confidence is built. Not by being perfect, but by practicing. By showing up again and again. You also need to remember that fear is not the same as danger. Just because you feel fear does not mean you are in danger. Your mind can create fear even when you are safe. It does this because your mind wants to protect you. It sees change as risk. It sees growth as threat. But you are not in danger. You are growing. You are changing. You are becoming. You do not need to escape. You need to breathe. You need to pause. And then you need to keep going. Don't let your fear decide what is safe. You decide. You know what you are ready for. You know what you want. And if fear shows up, let it come. But don't stop. Don't turn back. Just keep going. Some people wait their whole lives because of fear. They wait to speak until they feel completely confident. They wait to love until they are sure they won't get hurt. They wait to try until they know they won't fail. But the truth is, those days never come. There is no moment when everything is certain. There is no path that has no risk. There is no dream that comes without fear. If you always wait to feel ready, you may spend your life waiting and never living. Fear is not something you avoid by standing still. Fear becomes smaller only when you move through it. That is why waiting can be more dangerous than trying. Waiting keeps you stuck in the same place. Trying, even with fear, moves you forward. And even if you fail, you learn. Even if it's hard, you grow. Fear tries to protect you from pain, but it also protects you from progress. And the cost of that is too high. You may think that fear is telling you to stop. But sometimes, fear is only telling you, this matters. You feel fear when you care. You feel fear when something is important. That is why fear shows up before you speak your truth, before you take a big step, before you share something real. Fear is a sign that you are doing something brave. Something real. Something alive. And that means you're on the right path. Don't let fear confuse you. Don't let it become your guide. Let it be a sign, but not a stop. Feel it, notice it, and keep going. Your fear is part of your story, but it is not the end of your story. It's okay to feel afraid. It's okay to say, I don't know what will happen. But you must still act. You must still trust. Because the more you act in the face of fear, the more you learn what you are truly capable of. And you are capable of more than you think. You are stronger than you believe. You are braver than you feel. You have already come through pain. You have already overcome struggles. And that means you already have courage inside you. You just need to use it again. You need to reach for it. You need to remember it. There is no shame in fear. The shame is in giving up on your life because of it. The shame is in letting fear build your future. But that is not you. You are not someone who gives up. You are someone who grows. You are someone who tries. You are someone who faces fear and walks forward anyway. And that choice, the choice to keep going, is what makes all the difference. You don't need to take a big step. Just take the next one. That is enough. That is strength. Sometimes fear will come when you least expect it. You may feel strong one day, full of hope and energy. You take steps, you move forward, you believe in yourself. Then suddenly, fear returns. It surprises you. It shakes your thoughts. You ask yourself, why am I afraid again? I thought I already faced this. I thought I was stronger now. But this is normal. Growth is not a straight line. Fear can return in waves. Just because you have felt strong once does not mean fear is gone forever. Fear comes back to test your belief, to test your commitment, to ask, do you really want this? Are you still willing to try? And this is the moment when your answer matters most. You can choose to listen to fear, or you can choose to speak back. You can say, yes, I feel this fear, but I still want this. I am still moving. I am not done. You must learn to expect fear, not to welcome it, but to understand that it will appear on every path that matters. If something is easy, you may not feel fear. But if something is meaningful, if something can change your life, if something can grow you, then fear will stand at the door. It always does. That is how you know you are standing in front of something big. So don't be surprised when fear shows up. Be ready. Be prepared. Remind yourself that fear is part of the process. It means you are close to something important. One way to deal with fear is to break it into small pieces. Sometimes fear looks big because you are trying to do everything at once. You are thinking too far ahead. You are imagining every problem, every challenge, every mistake. But you don't need to live the whole future today. You just need to take the next step. You don't need to write the whole book. Just write one sentence. You don't need to speak to the whole room. Just say your first word. You don't need to change your whole life today. Just make one small choice. This is how you break fear. Not with force, but with small action. Not with pressure, but with steady steps. Your mind may still offer fear. It may say, this is too hard, you are not ready, you are not good enough. But now you know the truth. You know that fear is a voice, not a fact. You know that it speaks loudly, but it does not decide. You do. You are the one who moves. You are the one who acts. You are the one who chooses. And each time you choose courage, your fear becomes smaller, your voice becomes stronger, and your life becomes yours again. There are people in this world who are not smarter than you, not more talented than you, not stronger than you, but they are living their dreams. Not because they had no fear, but because they acted anyway. They sent the message. They applied for the job. They spoke up when it was uncomfortable. They kept showing up even when they were nervous, tired, or unsure. They were not fearless. They were just focused. They made a decision to stop letting fear lead their life. You can do the same. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be the best. You just need to keep showing up. Fear loses power when you keep showing up. Every day you act in the direction of your dream, fear becomes smaller. Every time you do the thing you were afraid of, you become stronger. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to believe that maybe you are more capable than you thought. And that belief is what starts to change everything. The world will not wait for you to stop being afraid. Opportunities will pass. Time will move. People will move forward with or without you. So don't wait for fear to disappear. Move with it. Take it by the hand and say, I know you are here, but I am not stopping. Fear will walk beside you, but it doesn't have to control you. You are the one who chooses the direction. You are the one who decides when to act. Let fear come. Let it talk. But do not give it the final word. That word belongs to you. You must also stop hiding who you are to feel safe. Fear wants you to hide, to shrink, to become small so that no one sees you. But you were not made to hide. You were made to speak, to share, to grow, to take up space in the world. Every time you hide your voice, you teach your mind that fear is right. But every time you show up as your real self, even with fear in your chest, you grow stronger. You show your mind that it is safe to be seen. It is safe to speak. It is safe to live. That safety grows with every honest action. That power grows with every brave word. You do not need to hide anymore. You are not here to be invisible. You are here to be real. Fear will always have something to say. But your life is bigger than fear. Your dream is louder. Your purpose is stronger. You will not let fear win. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. You will rise. You will speak. You will act. And you will keep going until the voice of fear becomes a whisper behind you, while you walk forward into the life you were meant to live. You must understand that fear is not something to remove from your life. It is something to learn how to live with. It is part of the journey. It visits everyone, no matter how confident they seem, no matter how many successes they have. Fear never leaves forever. It returns when you take new steps, when you open new doors, when you reach for more. So the goal is not to escape fear. The goal is to grow bigger than it. To feel it and still take action. To notice it and still move forward. Every time you face fear and keep going, your world becomes bigger. Your limits expand. Your strength increases. That is why fear can be your teacher. It shows you where the edge is. It shows you where growth lives. It shows you what matters most to you. And when you learn to use it as a signal, not a stop, it becomes part of your power. You may not feel strong today. You may feel like fear is too big, too loud, too heavy. But strength is not a feeling. Strength is a choice. Strength is what happens when you take a breath and do the thing anyway. Strength is built in the small moments. The moment you choose to try. The moment you decide not to give up. The moment you take the first step when fear says wait. Those small choices create a strong mind, a strong heart, a strong life. You are not born fearless. You become brave one moment at a time. And the more moments you collect, the more natural it feels. What once made your hands shake will one day feel normal. What once made your heart race will one day make you smile. You will grow. You will change. But only if you stop letting fear decide your future. People who follow fear live with regret. They wonder what could have been. They wonder what they might have done if they had just taken the chance. That regret is heavy. It does not go away easily. Because deep down, you always remember the moments when you said no to your heart. But you don't have to live with that weight. You can choose differently. You can say yes. You can try. You can fail. You can rise. And even if it's hard, even if it's slow, you will have peace. Peace that comes from knowing you tried. That you lived. That you followed your truth instead of your fear. There will be days when fear feels stronger than your will. Days when your mind is full of doubt. Days when your energy is low. You might look at your goals and feel like they are too far away. You might feel small. You might feel like nothing is changing. This is normal. Everyone has these days. But these days are not a reason to quit. They are a reason to rest. To breathe. To reset. And then to return. Fear will use these low days to try and take control again. It will tell you that you are not good enough. That you are wasting your time. That you are falling behind. But fear lies. You are not falling behind. You are still on the path. And slow steps forward are still steps forward. It is okay to go slow. It is okay to pause. Just do not stop forever. You have already come too far. You have already faced too much. You are closer than you think. Fear becomes smaller when you talk about it. When you keep it inside, it grows. But when you speak it out loud, it loses power. Tell someone you trust. Write it down. Say, I am afraid, but I still want this. There is no shame in feeling fear. There is only strength in being honest. And when you say it out loud, you are already moving through it. You are no longer hiding. You are taking the first step. This is how healing begins. Not with perfection, but with honesty. And once you are honest, you can begin to move again. Slowly. Gently. With care. You do not need to fight fear with force. You only need to walk past it. Again and again, until your steps become stronger than your doubts. Look back for a moment. Think about everything you have already overcome. Think about the times you didn't quit, even when it was hard. The times you showed up, even when you were nervous. The times you chose growth, even when fear tried to stop you. That is your story. That is your proof. You have already done brave things. You have already faced challenges. And you are still here. That means you can do it again. That means you are not as weak as fear wants you to believe. You are stronger than you think. Sometimes you just forget. So let this be your reminder. You have what it takes. There is a part of you that already knows what you need to do. You may not feel ready. You may still feel unsure. But that deeper part of you knows. It knows what you want. It knows what you are meant for. You just have to listen. You just have to trust. Even if it's scary. Even if it's slow. Even if it's messy. Trust your own voice. Trust your own path. You are not lost. You are just in the middle. And the middle is the place where growth happens. Where you build yourself. Where you find your power. Keep walking through it. Do not let fear pull you back. Sometimes the biggest changes in your life come from the smallest acts of courage. One honest word. One brave conversation. One quiet decision to keep going. These moments may not look big to the outside world, but they are big for you. They are turning points. They are signs that you are no longer letting fear win. And over time, these small acts build a new version of you. A version that is stronger, braver, more honest, and more alive. Every time you choose courage over fear, you change. You step into the person you are meant to be. You may not feel different right away. But inside, your mind is learning. Your heart is opening. Your voice is becoming stronger. You must trust this process. Even if you do not see the results today, something is changing. You are planting seeds. And those seeds will grow. One day, the things that feel hard now will become normal. One day, the fears that seem big today will feel small. Because you faced them. Because you didn't run. Because you kept showing up. That is what changes your life. Not one big moment, but many small, quiet acts of strength. You will face moments when fear feels like the only thing that's real. It sits in your chest. It fills your thoughts. It makes you question everything. Should I stop? Should I wait? Should I hide? It makes you look for ways to escape, to delay, to disappear. These moments feel strong because fear is a powerful emotion. It speaks fast. It speaks first. And it sounds like truth. But feelings are not facts. Just because fear feels strong does not mean it is telling the truth. The truth is, you are capable. The truth is, you are growing. The truth is, you have already walked through fear many times before. But fear doesn't talk about that. It doesn't remind you of your strength. It only talks about risk. It only tells you what might go wrong. And it never tells you what might go right. It never tells you about the joy, the success, the growth, the meaning waiting for you on the other side. That's why you must learn to speak back. To fear. To doubt. To that voice in your mind that tries to hold you in place. Fear doesn't go away when you do nothing. In fact, doing nothing makes it grow. The more you avoid, the more fear rises. You start to build walls around your actions. You avoid places, people, moments that matter. You shrink your life to feel safe. But safety without movement is not peace. It is just stillness. And stillness is not always calm. Sometimes it's a cage. If you always listen to fear, you end up in a small life. A life without risk, yes. But also a life without deep joy, without connection, without passion. That is the real danger, not the fear of doing something, but the fear of doing nothing for too long. You were not born to stay in the same place. You were born to learn, to grow, to move, to reach, to rise. Fear will always be part of that journey. But it does not have to be the driver. It can sit beside you. You can hear it without following it. You can feel it without obeying it. It may always be part of the road, but it doesn't have to choose the direction. Every step you take with fear beside you is a step of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of it. Every brave act you take teaches your brain that it is safe to try, that it is okay to speak, that it is okay to live. And the more you act with fear present, the more fear begins to fade. Not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, naturally, because you have trained your mind to believe in something stronger than fear, your purpose. There is power in deciding. Power in saying, I feel scared, but I'm doing it anyway. I feel nervous, but I am showing up. I don't know the outcome, but I trust myself. These decisions are quiet, but they are life-changing. They shift your path. They move your story. They carry you closer to the person you want to become. And that person, the stronger, braver, freer version of you, is already inside. They are just waiting for you to move past fear. Every time you take one step past fear, you meet them. You become them. You grow into that version. Not by magic. Not by luck. But by movement. That's what makes your fear less powerful. Not ignoring it, but facing it, walking into it, and proving to yourself that you are more powerful than it. You are not here to live a life ruled by what-ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not good enough? These questions are the language of fear. They keep you looking backwards. They keep your focus on risk, on loss, on pain. But what if you changed the question? What if I succeed? What if I grow? What if this is the best decision I ever make? These are questions of courage. And courage changes your direction. It pulls your mind forward. It opens your heart. It gives you hope. Your life becomes what you focus on. If you focus only on fear, your life becomes small. If you focus on possibility, your life becomes wide and open. The fear will still be there. But now you are walking past it. Now you are asking better questions. Now you are leading your life instead of letting fear lead it. Fear is not always loud. Sometimes it comes in silence. It shows up in the way you say, maybe later. In the way you let time pass while waiting to feel ready. In the way you hold back your ideas. In the way you pretend you don't care, just to avoid the chance of failing. But deep down, you do care. Deep down, you want to live fully. You want to speak, to try, to give your gifts to the world. But fear keeps whispering. Wait. Hide. Stay small. It sounds safe, but it is a trap. You think you are avoiding pain, but what you are really avoiding is growth. You think you are staying safe, but what you are really doing is letting fear write your story. That story will not fulfill you. That story will not make you proud. The only story that will satisfy you is the one where you showed up, even when it was hard. Where you kept going, even when you were scared. Where you said yes, even when it wasn't perfect. That story is built by choice. Your choice. You can begin that story right now. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need to wait until the fear is gone. Start with one decision. One action. One sentence. One deep breath. You don't need to be fully brave. Just brave enough to take the next small step. When you take that step, something changes inside you. You tell your mind, I can do this. You show your heart, it is safe to try. You begin a new pattern, one where you face fear with movement instead of silence. And the more you do it, the more natural it feels. Fear becomes just one of many voices, not the one in control. You hear it, but you don't obey it. You feel it, but you keep going. This is what growth looks like. This is how courage is built, one real, imperfect, powerful step at a time. There will be times when the fear in your mind is not from this moment, but from your past. You may remember a time you failed. A time you were hurt. A time someone made you feel small. These memories stay with you. And when you try something new, your mind brings them back. It says, remember when you tried and it didn't work? Remember how that felt. Do you really want to feel that again? This is how fear uses the past to stop your future. But you must remember that your past is not your limit. It is your lesson. You are not the same person you were then. You have learned. You have grown. You have more strength now. more knowledge, more power. What happened before does not mean it will happen again. And even if it does, you are more ready now. You will not break the same way. You will not fall the same way. You will rise faster. You will heal stronger. You will keep going. Fear likes to bring back the pain of yesterday, but your job is to stay in today. Today is new. Today is full of new chances. You are not stuck in that old moment unless you choose to stay there. Today you can act. You can speak. You can try. You can begin again. And this beginning is not from zero. It is from wisdom, from strength, from experience, from everything you have already survived. This is your foundation. Let your past become your reason, not your excuse. Let it remind you why you want change. Let it show you why you will not give up this time. You owe it to yourself to try again. Not for the world. Not for approval. But for your own freedom. When you don't let fear win, something amazing happens. You start to feel alive. You feel awake in your own body. You feel proud of your choices. You feel like the life you are living finally matches the life you imagined. This is the reward of courage. Not just success, not just results, but peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you are moving in the right direction. That you are not hiding anymore. That you are finally being who you were always meant to be. You were not born to live in fear. You were born to live in freedom. You were born to move, to speak, to grow, to explore, to try, to become. Fear will always be there, but it does not need to be your guide. It can walk beside you, but it cannot lead the way. That is your job. And every time you act, every time you speak, every time you take one brave step forward, you are choosing freedom over fear. You are choosing life over limits. You are choosing to be more than your doubt. That choice matters. That choice shapes your future. That choice becomes your story. One you can be proud of. So when the fear returns, and it will, remember who you are. Remember everything you've already faced. Remember that you have been here before, and you moved forward anyway. You didn't quit. You didn't hide. You kept going. And you can keep going again. The road is still open. The door is still there. Your dream is still alive. It is waiting for you to keep walking. I want to thank you for listening today. I know you could be doing a lot of other things, but you chose to spend this time improving yourself, and that is something to be proud of. Thank you for trusting me with your time. I truly hope this podcast inspired you to make small, positive changes in your life. Before I say goodbye, I have one final request. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or a colleague who needs to hear these words. Sharing this podcast helps me reach more people who want to improve their lives, and it helps you spread positive ideas to others. And don't forget, there's more to come. Be sure to listen to our next episode where we'll explore even more ways to improve your life and your English skills. Together, we can keep learning and growing. So thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to having you join me next time.